guys, what's going on? What's going on, my fans of Barstool GC? I am right back here with Coach Alexander. This is our first interview, technically our second, but our first was on the old YouTube channel that got terminated. So we are starting a brand new interview, brand new series, everything. So he is going to be asked some questions that you may have heard already, but that's just because of the first video getting deleted. So we'll make sure that each one of you followers get caught up, and we will get right back to it. Coach A, how are you doing?
Good to see you, Fuzz.
So this week was a big week for you and the team. Tryouts happened this week. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday were your 4 days of tryouts. Today is the big day as you find out the team. Who's
Yes.
on it? Overall, I mean, a whole bunch of you guys have scouted everyone that showed up. And Coach A, what were you impressed about?
I'm mainly impressed with our group as a whole. We had 70 guys try out this year, through freshmen through seniors. I think it was almost 35 freshmen that tried out. So it always is hard picking those teams when some of those kids have never missed a workout, an open field, a lifting this entire year. So those ones are the real tough ones for me. Kids that do well in school, that even hurts even more because I know that they do things the right way, yet they're not going to make our team maybe because their skill level just may not be as high as some of the other kids right now. But I just try to explain to them that, we've cut numerous kids that ended up being varsity starters one day. It just how you take that not making of the team and what you do with it. Are you going to attack it in the off season? Or are you going to attack your weaknesses and try to improve on those? Or maybe you're a kid that we are not going to keep because of grades. Are you going to attack the classroom? Are you going to get better in that area if that's where your weakness is? So just a great group of kids. We greatly appreciate all of our kids trying out. Our coaches talked about that all week. It is tough. I hate doing it as a coach. But I also, in the last 2 days, I think Coach Hab figured out that I threw 850 pitches between Tuesday and Wednesday night, Wednesday and Thursday night. So he's like, you can't throw 850 pitches every day. So.
And one of the days, as was seen on the Grove City Baseball Twitter page, you brought in Mike. How was his appearance?
Mike did a great job. Our guys love having him around. He has been a true asset to a lot of our pitchers over a lot of the years. Some of these guys have been working with Mike since his early days as a Cardinal, and they've seen him grow. And maybe he's worked with them since they've been in 5th grade, 4th grade. So it is great to see him back with our guys. The other day he was throwing bullets by him. And that's always fun to watch. And just to see our guys even try to compete with that. I can see our guys getting their foot down, their hands slotted, and they want to swing the bat. I know they have a great chance against high school kids. So it's a great opportunity for our kids.
For sure. Let's talk about the returnees. So you've seen them try out. What did you like from them?
We have a large core coming back from a team that last year we won 22 games. We were in the district final. We lost 2-1 in 10 innings. We got a great core coming back that played a ton of innings. So it'll be how do they respond? How do they react to now being the guy that is counted on. You know, and we had that talk with them the other day that there's going to be 2 or 3 of you that don't live up to what we think your potential is, and then we're going to have to look at other options. And that's always tough, but I think they also need to know that, and they need to hear that there's no position that's set in stone. There's nothing that's cemented in. I can even think back on, we had a kid that one day, he played for the Buckeyes, and he struggled like crazy his junior year. His sophomore year was amazing. But he had to go through some growing pains of sitting. He's never done that in his life because he just wasn't getting it done. So I think our guys definitely understand that they have to work and they have to do things the right way. And when they get their chance, they got to make the most of it.
For sure. As you told me, you said there was 35 incoming freshmen that was trying out. What did you like from all of those freshmen?
Oh, I think this freshman group is really good. They've got some great arms on the mound. They've got some really good catchers. They've got some really good infielders, and their bats played really well in the tryout. I think their mechanics are ahead of the game with other freshman groups that we've had in the past. So it will be interesting to see how they do. I think we want to keep them together as a core right now because we do think a lot of this class, and I kind of want to see them bond with each other because we think this is a group that's going to stick together for a long time here.
For sure. So anything else that you wanted to take away from the tryouts?
No, I'm just excited to get our teams get our teams selected, talk to those kids. Our big talk with tonight is also like roles. Where do we see you right now? We've got 3 weeks before we would even go on our trip. We've got, in 2 weeks, we have scrimmages. So there's a lot of time for those guys to make ground and either prove us wrong, or guys that we thought were higher, maybe they bump themselves down through this competitive piece. We try to compete every day in practice. We make practice really hard, so in hope that the games are easier. So I'm just excited to work with this group.
For sure. And like you said, scrimmages are 2 weeks away. Our first one, of course, coming, I believe, March 14th when we take on Licking Valley here at Grove City High School. So let's talk about the schedule a little bit. So talk to us about the OCC-Ohio division and what each team that we are going up against brings.
I think it's one of the best conferences in the state as far as baseball goes. Last year, New Albany was the state champ. We were the OCC champ. We beat the state champs twice out of 3 times, and I think we should have beat them all 3. We lost twice to Gahanna. They had a pitcher that was unreal. Marzette's, he's at Marietta now, so we will not have to face him. That's good. Pick North was very young. They've played 2 or 3 really young guys, so they're going to continue to get better. Westerville Central's always been a good baseball school. Those were great games. And then Westland, they did a great job out of conference last year, but in conference, they're still trying to figure out how to compete with some of these teams. But they have 2 or 3 guys that we would love to have. Like, they have some really good talent in that program.
For sure. And this is a question that I'm sure all the followers are wanting to hear because it's probably the most popular team outside of Grove City. What about Central Crossing?
We do not have them on the schedule right now, but eventually we may pick them up as the season goes. Last year we had a great battle with them, and we had Preston Todd as a senior, and he got to go against his dad. Scott Todd's the head coach at Central Crossing, so that was really cool for him.
For sure. So like you told earlier, you were going down on a trip. And I believe it's in Alabama and in Florida.
Yes.
So talk to us about that trip a little bit.
We we'll be taking a group of kids down there to compete against two really good teams from Alabama, two of the top teams in Alabama. They'll probably be on game 12, 15 by the time we get there. I think both of them have already played 4 games this season. The Florida teams have just started this week, so I think they all have 2 or 3 games in at this point. And I know the Alabama teams have numerous Division I commits. We play Lakeland Christian when we're in Florida. Last year they had 2 guys drafted in the top 50. We play Lakeland George Jenkins. I think they have 7 Division I commits. And then we play Winter Haven. And we played Winter Haven 3 years ago when we were in Florida, and it was a great game. We ended up losing 6-5, but great atmosphere, great games down there, great teams, great. The coaches are very hospitable. We have practices lined up all over Orlando. We're gonna go to the University of Florida, see them playing a baseball game. We're gonna see a UCF baseball game. So it should be a great experience for our guys.
For sure, and those trips down, especially to the University of Florida, should really get the guys going.
Yeah.
Because that baseball team can strive year in and year out with a bunch of production for the MLB. So I'm sure those guys would love to see that.
Yes.
And then you kind of brought it up in the first interview. We have to play a team from up in Michigan. Talk to us about that team.
Yes, we have Lake Orchard St. Mary's coming to town, and they are the Max Prep #1 team in the country right now. So they are going to come down here to play us, I believe, in the middle of April. They have, I think, 9 Division I commits, and they have a kid that throws 101 mile an hour. So it will be very interesting to see. And I know our guys have been excited about it all year since we got them on the schedule. They're going to play Orange on Friday. They're going to play Upper Arlington Saturday morning, and then us Saturday afternoon.
For sure. That is a big time thing for that Michigan team as they head down to Columbus and play 3 of our teams. And I know the OCC can bring out a bunch of great baseball teams and baseball schools. The OCC has been represented as the state champs in the last couple of years as well. And like you said in the first interview, 4 of our teams from the OCC-Ohio division has been in the state Final Four.
Yeah.
So
in the last decade, we've been there twice. Westerville Central's been there. Pick North has been there and won it in 2018. And in 2018, they actually were the state champs, and they finished 4th in our league. So I think it goes to show you how good our league really is. And then, you know, when you get to that spot, like I told Coach Thomas when at Pick North, I probably coached against 8 teams better than that one. But at that moment, they got hot at the right time. They had 2 really good pitchers, and they were able to make that run. So it will be very interesting to see. And New Albany, you know, they recently just went, and they won it all. And technically, they were probably even deeper the year before when COVID struck and knocked the season out.
Sure. So let's talk about the roster a little bit. Obviously, we're not going to bring up like who's going to make what team. That's all for you to decide later today. What I will bring up though is the last year's seniors that graduated. I know those guys had one heck of a season.
Yeah.
Obviously, they got cut just short by a district final loss, which it brought a good atmosphere.
Oh, that game was amazing.
And it brought just a bunch out of them. I'm sure those kids had that game of their lives there.
Yeah.
So, kind of talk to me a little bit about those seniors that graduated.
Yes, we lost a great group. There's a gang of them up at Otterbein that are all actually expected to be big pieces of what they're trying to do in this year or next year. Ethan Conley's already pitched in 2 varsity games at West Liberty University in West Virginia. Preston's down in West Virginia playing. Biddle, Roy, they're both battling it out to get innings as position players. And Weaver actually has done an awesome job over at Otterbein and looks to be in the rotation as a pitcher this year.
For sure. And then I also brought up the returnees earlier and what their tryout impact will bring, but kind of tell me, what will their production be like on the field?
The guys coming back this year?
Yes.
Yeah. We have some great ones coming back. Keegan was unreal for us on the mound last year. I think he was 7-1. We get him back for 3 more years. Sig pitched a lot of big innings as a sophomore, so we'll have him back as a junior. Jackson Ware has been pitching for us since he was a freshman, and he's a senior now. I remember him as a freshman. He beat #1 in the state, Maslin Jackson down here. So I think we have a great core coming back. Ryan Roth pitched a lot. Gabe Duncan pitched a lot. So all of those guys coming back are going to add to our rotation. And then we had a big piece of our hitting last year was led by this junior group. Dennis had an unreal junior season, was all-state. Keegan was an all-state first baseman as well as a pitcher. Jackson has always been a big hitter for us in the lineup. Ruffing had a great year last year. We've had a bunch of other guys get opportunities last year that I think are only going to make them bigger. You know, Dylan Wells-Cotman started playing for us down the stretch and he made probably the best catch of the year that I saw in that Lancaster game in foul territory. So we're very excited about our roster, our guys that are coming back. Our captains, Ty Clifton, is just an absolute hitter. That guy in tryouts last night, I threw him 2 bunts and 10 cuts as their evaluation, and he had 9 absolute missiles that I thought were going to kill me in the cage. And then the 10th one, I got him to roll over on a ground ball, so I celebrated.
Oh, good old Ty. So then, we talk about the mound a little bit, and those guys, I mean, they were impressive. But then let's talk about another kid, Cole Kraus. Kraus pitched a no-hitter last year, and what are you looking for out of him?
Yeah, I mean, Kraus was everyone talked about him being kind of their ace on that freshman team by the end of the year. We are looking for him to continue to build on that. He's continued to get stronger. I think that's where he continues to need to work even more, is continue to prepare himself in the weight room. But we loved what we saw from him on the tryouts, on the mound, and we look for him to be a big part of what we're going to do here in Grove City.
For sure. And then let's go to the hitters a little bit. Let's talk about those guys a little bit. I know you said there's some big bats coming back, but how much of that production is like very, very I think I worded it completely wrong. The bats that are coming back, what will they bring to Grove City next year?
I think our bats have a chance to be very strong. I think we have a diverse group of hitters this year too that can do multiple things. Like they can hit for power, they can hit for average. I feel like we're going to battle and not strike out a lot. We can bunt really well. We got a whole lineup that can bunt and you have great speed. And if you have great speed, we can steal bases. And if we're stealing bases, pitchers have to be worried about our running game. And if they have to worry about our running game and they're throwing fastballs to try to throw people out, then I hope our hitters are teeing off and making the most of hitting those fastballs. So that's kind of our MO over the last decade, is what we want to do with the bats. So we're excited about this group.
For sure. Let's talk a little bit overall. So let's talk about your goal expectations. Obviously, this team, it was a COVID year. We beat the state champs twice, and we made district finals. That's a very good year. Lost 6, 7 of our guys, but we are in a big position next year, a really big strength of schedule. So talk to me about what goals did you have in mind for the team this year?
Yeah, I mean, we think this group could be really good. We think our team should be really good every year. So I don't really want to put that on anyone else, like this team's so much better than other teams, but we think that this group has the ability to play in some of these big games and take on some of these big monsters all over the country. So we set it up that way. We'll see what happens. I remember in 2017, I still think that may be one of the best teams we've ever had. We went down south on a trip like this. We played in Mississippi and we played in Florida. We came back 3-3, and we didn't lose another game in Ohio until we lost in the state playoffs, except for Moeller on a weekend. So Moeller came up here on that weekend. But that team, we went undefeated in the conference. We went undefeated in everybody else we played that year. We were number 2 in the state. So I feel like this group has that capability with the parts that we have. Now we just have to actually play it out, continue to get better, figure out our weaknesses, attack those, and I think this group could be really good.
For sure. It may or may not be an official part of the schedule, but from what I saw, the Olentangies were at the very end of the schedule. Orange and Berlin, if I'm correct. What will those two teams bring before the playoffs?
Yeah, I think it'll be a great test for us at the very end. Coach Marker, he coached with us here at Grove City. He's up at Orange now. We actually taught him everything that he knows. So that will be a great battle. It always is. We usually play Olentangy Liberty. We're not playing them as of now this year. Berlin has been on the rise. Coach Weaver does a great job up there. The Olentangies have a great. I have a great deal of respect for all of their sports programs. So I feel like they have figured it out, and even by creating new schools, and a new school goes up and another new school goes up, they've still found a way to rebound pretty quickly with still competing at a very high level.
For sure. And it just goes back to what the OCC is as a baseball conference. You have the Olentangies, you have Grove City and all the OCC-Ohio, you have the Westervilles and the Dublins and the Hilliards. All of these baseball teams have produced at a very high level, and these games have been absolutely just amazing to watch from all angles and from any team. And what do you think? I know with baseball, not a lot of people come out, but do you think, in what way should more people come?
I do think it is a tougher sport to get people to until the end of the year.
Yeah.
Because for a lot of our season, we play in very cold weather.
Mm-hmm.
So someone's like, if they really don't have a vested interest in their kid, watching their own kid play, they're like, I'm not gonna come until it gets warmer.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's just the bottom line. So unfortunately, our kids live in Ohio, and that's the deal. So like when we go down south, a lot of these games will be packed with their fans because they love watching baseball and they love the weather and they love sitting there eating a hot dog, whatever that may be. Ours kind of more ramps up when you get closer to May and that nice weather starts popping, and then we start to see our fans filter in. I still think our fan group is probably the best in Central Ohio, as far as supporting all sports, but our baseball program specifically, of people that just are not even related to a kid playing, how many people come to our games, email me, call me, text me about what they love to see about our team.
For sure. One more thing here. So last year was kind of a COVID year, but with COVID kind of in the rearview mirror now, do you have a message to our fans before the start of the season?
Yes, we're hoping we don't have to have any more COVID stoppages this season, so definitely get out and come watch the Greyhounds. We think we're going to put on a nice show with a lot of our kids. We got a lot of kids this year as well going to play at the next level. We've got a lot of younger kids that will play at the next level. So for them, it starts here at Grove City, and I know they're proud to be Greyhounds, and they're proud to work for this great community.
For sure. Coach A, thank you very much for interviewing today. It was a great one, and I hope to interview you soon.
Thanks, Buzz. I appreciate it. Go Greyhounds.